Hello, welcome to another episode of Tech Talk with Tori Ifese. And today I have with me Mr. Dayo Otokiti. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very
It's
much.
really nice having you here.
Thank
Wow,
you.
thank you so much.
Interesting
Okay,
to be here.
a quick one. Let's start with getting to meet you. Can you just share a bit of your success story about yourself?
Okay, simply call me Dayo Otokiti.
Okay.
I've been in IT for a while. I've been able to work in different sectors: financial services, procurement, education, and
Wow.
in different areas. And what I've done mainly would be IT service management, security, networking, and project management. So that would be a brief summary of just bringing it short of
Okay, don't worry.
how.
You're bringing it short. I'll still nail it. I'll still come back to it. So let's talk about your foundation. How was it like? I know that you didn't just become a tech guru as as it is now. So how did it start?
Well, when we talk about foundations, it's just like a newborn. You know everybody walks, but you are watching and observing and saying how would this happen. I used to have a dad who my late dad used to be in education,
Oh, okay.
and he used to teach business. And growing up, I thought that I would end up being an economist somehow. But I think far back, was it 2007, 2008, trying to gain admission into university, there was this strike. And he said, why not go and learn computer hardware locally in the market? So
Hmm.
at that time, I went to Alaba International Market
Wow.
with my cousin. We spent almost a year learning hardware, repairing computers, and that was the foundation into me even getting a degree in computer engineering and electronics. So that was what led me into this direction.
That's indeed an intentional dad. Thank you, Daddy. Okay, but what was your what did you graduate with? What?
So my first degree comes with electronics and computer engineering.
Okay.
I proceeded to getting a second degree in information communications and technology. So that made my first and second degree all rounded up in ICT.
Oh, that's good.
Um, at a more senior level, I had my executive MBA, Quantic School of Business and Technology, and of course the prestigious Lagos Business School, where I did
Mm-hmm.
a senior management program and authentic leadership program, which helped shape not just my understanding of technology, but also equipped me with leadership skills to be able to manage teams and grow businesses and understand what is important to the business, especially from a technology point of view.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, talking about leadership skills, right? I know that most tech specialists or professionals, some would have challenges around soft skills. What would you recommend for anybody in the tech space? And what soft skills would you recommend?
So if you look at leadership, you have to have a core, and you now have to develop and expand in other areas. So you have accountants knowing a lot about numbers and digits, but
Okay.
still they still have to understand how to present that data in a meaningful way. So also for me as information technologist, my core was IT, but as you grow, you don't just want to be a network engineer or a programmer. You become a team lead at some point, you become a manager at some point, you become a leader at some point. So, depending on the organization and you yourself in terms of your vision, there are skills you need to onboard to make you more successful in your role. Such you have to improve your business communication skills because
Okay.
um, I learned early. I think sometimes around 2010, I used to have a CIO who studied English as a first degree, and she did very well. And I keep wondering, why would a first degree in English language be able to do well in technology? And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that she's able to communicate very well. She's able to speak business terms. She's able to take the technology to the business and not come there and speak technological jargons, but more of
Mm-hmm.
the business language. So I understood quite all right that those things come hand in hand, and those things have to be developed at the same time. So that was what I did. I moved into getting MBA to have a very good perspective of the business. I've been into trainings that talked about my own intelligence skills, my own leadership skills, how um, our leadership can be framed in a way that will benefit not just us, our team, and even help us get the best out of them. So it's not just information technology. As you grow in your career, you must be able to um, draw out a roadmap that others will follow successfully, and they will do well.
That's great. So, as a seasoned leader in the tech space, you know, the director, I understand you're now the director of operations.
Okay.
Before being a director of operations, you were also the CIO. And you
Yes.
see the transitioning, and before you know it now, it is well done. So that's a huge one. It's a
Thank you.
huge one. So in this tech space, what exactly would you tell the newbies who are aspiring to become like you? Because you didn't become a director of operations just yesterday, because you graduated day before yesterday, and then the next day so there was a transition, and let's understand that.
Well, for newbies, one thing that helped me was that initially when I started my career, I remember reviewing my appraisals, I think around 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
And looking at it, I used to see what my managers used to say that Dyer wants to be a specialist. He has the capacity for much more. He just wants to be a specialist. Then I was a network administrator and a system admin.
Okay.
Anything project management, I'm not interested. Anything IT service
Mhm.
management, I'm not interested. So they kept putting that in my appraisal that you have the capacity to do much more. And after I softened up, I was able to understand that you, at a very young age, you can take in much more.
Mm.
When you are not so totally formed, you can learn project management, you can learn IT service management, you can learn information security. For you to be a leader, you must at least have an understanding, basic understanding
Almost.
of all those areas. You might be a specialist in a particular area, but you have to have the bird's eye view of whatever. So for newbies, um, as you grow, make sure that uh, rather than focus on depth at the very beginning, you expand. You are interested in everything. Help others in their project. Help others in their work. Those knowledge that knowledge will come in handy as you grow up in leadership.
Okay, so great. So I have this question here, so I'll read it out. You're someone who is passionate about inclusiveness,
Okay.
inclusivity,
Yeah.
and diversity. What steps do you think can be taken to encourage this in the tech field?
Well, if you look at the world today, we have we have different things we contribute, and inclusiveness, especially bringing everybody together, gives you different dimensions and perspective. You cannot build a solution now without having um, in-depth knowledge from
Okay.
different perspectives. You look at maybe a building. You can bring guys together that will make the whole building stand, but when you come inside, you look at the interior, you look at the decoration. Those are different ideas. It doesn't have to be brick and mortar and everything. So when you build a team, you need to understand that there will be unique perspectives from different genders, different age group, Gen Zs, Gen Ys. So you need to understand that as a leader, you plan your team to be able to accommodate those differences so that you can mine the value that comes with inclusiveness.
Hmm. So this would bring me down to this question. How do you ensure you have quality team?
Well, um, quality is relative.
Okay.
And for me, um, my focus when hiring is not your certification.
Mm.
It's more about your character, how how you fit into an existing team. Are you a team player? Are you someone that is willing to learn those things that you've not known? Because there's every organization, we don't run organizations the same way. Banking is different from procurement, is different from education. So those that will survive in different teams must have that ability to play and learn fast. So when I hire, even though your skill set is important, I still want to know that you are adaptable, you are flexible, you are a team player, you are also a good person to work with others. We willingly want to work with you. Once those things key out,
Are in
you
place.
you have
So
a
I
good
think
chance.
I agree with you. I remember listening to Pastor Adepoju when he was talking about was comparing the efficos in school. Then those people were very brilliant and they just seem to do things on their own. They read on their own. When they are going to the exam, they are well focused, they pass. They keep climbing the success ladder, and when they get to a place where they now have to work, they'll just want to do things on their own.
Yeah,
So people like that somehow don't ascend to the managerial roles.
yeah,
So it's very important that one start looking at team playing,
yes,
like being a team player,
yes,
and then trying to ensure that you're able to carry your team along in whatever task you're
absolutely.
told to deliver on. So that's very good. So let's look at what's your perspective around these government initiatives for the tech community? I know that the government so far has been running several initiatives. I know of the Art of Technology, and of course the 3MTT, and several other projects around. What's your own perspective about that?
So the concept for bringing in or growing technology within Nigeria is something that should be applauded.
Yeah.
And there's something that we also need to understand, that probably the results might not be immediately visible. It's more like you're going to create a generation that are better equipped to manage challenges, that have those skill sets to be able to do the things that are relevant to today's world. If you look at right now, you have penetration of technology almost everywhere,
In every
and
aspect.
every aspect and sector. So I think what I see them do now is mainly planting the seed. It will take a while. They will keep watering in different. Some seeds will definitely not survive, but we pray that majority do, because
Okay.
at the end of the day, those are the things that we can reap fruit from
Mm.
in the future.
Okay, so when you said we pray, that alone just got me. The truth is, I manage a trading firm, right? And
Yes.
somehow I've seen quite a number of challenges most organizations are facing. Like they train their staff, and before you know it,
They're
the
gone.
the jackpine, like they're off and gone. So at that point where you said we pray,
Yeah.
indeed I said we pray there. That is important because the way it is now is everybody just wants to just leave the country. Yes, I applaud the government. I feel like they're doing well. They seem to with the people who have that are currently sitting at the leadership role now seem to really understand what it takes to build a community, and they know that they are fully aware of the future of tech and
Yeah.
are getting ready to ensure that the people are well equipped.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to look at the challenges that may occur, and looking at this jackpot syndrome. So how do you think the government can mitigate against these challenges, knowing fully well that the jackpot syndrome is everywhere,
So, um,
especially for the youths, please.
i- if we go round, Japa seems to be a Nigerian term. People leave countries. I have people who left the US for the UK, people who left Canada for the Europe, and it's something that we should get used to. Why we build, why we try to build our youths in understanding technology, there's something that is certain that um, there will always be someone on ground.
Hmm.
And if we all have those required skills, you would have something to pass across. And I always make mention of a training session I attended years back, I think 2005 in India. And that was a training for an advanced level networking course. And relatively, the guy next to me that we're doing what we call CCNP training together happens to be a mechanic.
Wow.
And it kept me thinking. In fact, it made me more serious in that course. If a mechanic can sit down for CCNP, I need to be serious with mine. What it means is we need to take technology beyond English language. We need to make sure you have mechanics now using digital card motor
Yeah.
readers. So it means that if we break it down to local language, we break it down to what everybody can relate to it, we can still use it and get far more resources to be able to work with us. Another thing is understanding that there's going to be a big difference in the way technology is approached in the next 5 years.
Okay.
It's predicted that AI will revolutionize the world in far much more. The impact will be more than what World War II had
Hmm.
in the next 5 years. That that alone is something we should reflect on, because everything we are going to do in the future will be technology driven, AI driven, and if we are not on board, it means that we are going to play catch up. So I think that that's why I said they are sowing the seeds, and that can help us. If you look at how AI could help us, I've made several sessions on that
Yeah.
already. It means that in the next 5 years, with development of AI, those of our people who have retired,
Yeah.
who will think that they are feeble, they can't walk anymore, with the aid of AI, they can be incorporated back into the workforce and perform excellently well and earn good money even at retirement, sitting at the comfort of their home, working from home, producing excellent results. You have people who are artisans who probably cannot read and write, have maybe augmented AI, something in their ears, directing them in the right language and saying, do it this way, do it that way. And those people are not normally counted as part of our educated workforce. With
Hmm.
AI, we can bring them in. So I shouldn't just, there's a lot that we should expect. And I think that what they are doing now is sowing that seed, a good foundation, and we can get the best from
Okay.
it in the future.
So you have even answered my second question, which would have been the future of tech, in the nearest future.
Yeah.
The future of tech. So I think you have given an insight to that already. So let's look at the current price and in dollars, the dollar rate affecting the international certifications, and what do you think the government can do about it? But let me just cite an example so you can really understand. I sit in a place where I really understand the challenges a lot of people are facing. Because a typical CISSP training exam now in court is almost running to almost a million, right? And exams, the little ones like the CompTIA security, CompTIA network, an average is almost 350, 450,000. So a common man out there practically cannot afford this. Yes, we know that certifications help to validate, and it's not like it doesn't entirely prove your competence,
Yeah.
because some people also find a way around it. But somehow it could also be an opening door,
Yeah.
right? So what do you think, or how do you think the government can assist, or what areas, what can we start looking into to try and cope these current challenges that people who are aspiring to do some of these certifications to get into tech can actually look into?
Well, certification is not very expensive,
Extremely.
and I think it's a good thing.
Hmm.
It's a good thing because um, as a nation, we we do not develop our own certification bodies. If we do, when you look at different certifications, you see that they are country based or a region based. If you look at ISO, I've had certifications from that the certificate is the giver, the accrediting body is in Canada or in US or in South Africa. What we are saying is we can have certification bodies within Nigeria who will give you certificates based on competence. You do that exam and they would certify that you passed it. And it will carry the same weight. Like, okay, if you look at security right now, there are different standards. You have the CompTIA, which is more general. If you look at ISACA, for example, which is CISM, you look at ISC Square, which is CISSP. You look at, so everybody has his own niche, and the curriculums are not exactly the same. So if we create our own certification bodies, we create those standards, we ensure that it's thorough, people get the required knowledge needed to do what they need to do, and those things can come
Thank
in
you so
cheaper.
much. You have just spoken my mind. Like you just was able to break it down.
Yeah.
So you see, let me just speak from my own view. You had talked about some of these certifying bodies. You had mentioned ISICA. You see, the truth is they seem to be more like a neutral base.
Yeah.
Yes, they are not specifically. It's not like they are builders of those technologies.
Yeah.
These are just curriculums that they put together, understanding the platform, the technical platforms of technologies that are involved,
Yeah.
and carrying out or creating curriculum to suit these exams, so that it can better validate, or people can actually get those validation through getting those certifications. And what they actually did was to get accreditations from these global recognized bodies,
Yeah.
also in
Yeah.
quotes, like for the
Answer.
ANS,
Answer. Yeah.
that's ANSI, right?
Yes.
And then you have all those regular those bodies there that apparently they can allow you, and they push that certification globally, and that it can be accepted in most countries. So I feel that is very important. But I also feel like the associations that we have in this country, in Nigeria, should come together. We shouldn't. There's a need to be. There's the problem, and we need to come together to solve this problem. So these associations, for instance, the NCS and some other associations, can come together, understand the challenges in this tech field, and see how best we can also get a common curriculum, or that can also you be recognized globally. But one more thing, there's this new act. Sorry, it's not new. The act that was signed in.
Yeah.
That's the Data
Protection.
Protection Act. See, this same thing that we are talking about is exactly the challenge also. Almost all the certifications on data protection are owned by global, foreign bodies. You have your CIPP,
Yeah.
right? You have your PCB, and so many others out there. So this exactly is a problem. A few of the legal practitioners that I know from Canada, from other countries, are already looking into Nigeria to say, okay, what can we do to actually get a certificate, a certification that can, prove the competence of organizations or staff of an organization. So I think if you have anything to say more to it, but don't mind me. Because this is just for me. It's painful to see that our youths and our professionals seems to be paying so much, so huge amount to foreign bodies?
Well, if you look at how these professional organizations are structured, you see inclusiveness.
Okay.
I know that recently I was interviewed by the board of Cisco for a board role,
Okay.
and when you look through, you see that it's truly a global institution. You have board members from the US, from China,
Mm.
from the UK, from South
Wow.
Africa. It's more about, it's not just about we own it.
Mm.
It's supposed to be available for all.
Oh.
And most of these might at times might be non-profits,
Mm.
non for profit. So what I would say is if you look at internally here within Nigeria, we seem to be more focused on revenue rather than the value it brings. And that is when we begin to lose the focus, our focus rather. Looking at the, if you quickly do a quick comparison, when I used to know this accounting certification body called
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
ICANN, ICANN used to do very well. People wanted that certification
Mhm.
until ACCA came up. And ACCA was easier, was more coordinated, was easier to approach. All those bottlenecks that ICANN will put, if you don't finish secondary school, you can approach
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
If you don't, they
They've
really
opened it up.
restricted it to maybe a Nigerian environment
Mm.
mindset. And that stunted the growth of ICANN rather than looking at it from a global
Global.
perspective.
Mm.
When we begin to adopt and embrace global best practices, we'll see that we will also get recognition. People will get value in what we are doing,
Mm.
and our certification bodies will also be recognized.
Wow, thank you so much. For someone who's looking at aspiring to take up the cybersecurity space. So, what certifications can you readily tell them, and at what level would you advise them to, consider those um,
Well,
exams?
it's difficult to start recommending certifications because you have to know the level or the background of that person before you be able to recommend. But basically, when it comes to cybersecurity, there are resources available. Cybersecurity, as the name is a very broad and wide field.
Very right.
So you want to talk about identity and asset management, you want to talk about
Penetration
cryptography, you want to talk
testing,
about Govt and penetration testing. So
compliance.
it is it's really a big field that we call
But there's
cyber
always a starting
information
point.
security. So um, I think what helped me was my own background in understanding basic networking
Okay.
and maybe computer science. I did
Okay.
I did programming at a time. I did networking at a time. I did system administration at a time. So when I wanted to go deeper into information security, I could relate with those technologies, and it helped me. Remember, one of my main certification I got then around 2009 was CISA,
Oh,
which was focused more on how you look at
system auditor.
auditing
Yeah.
systems. So that insight helped my security integration because
Wow.
I'm not
Okay.
just looking at it as if I'm approaching security,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also approaching it as an auditor. Those things help. That's why I said at the beginning of any career, learn broadly. You can't say you are in security. You have to understand asset security. You have to understand hardware security. You have to understand top 10 um, OWASP, OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. You have to learn broadly so that at the end, when you choose to specialize
In
in
any
a
of the
field
field.
within information security, you're able to tie the strings together to give you great value in your own area.
Mm.
I have had newbies come in, and I would just ask them to go and start from maybe endpoint protection, because everybody uses endpoints, and I move it to how you do vulnerability assessment, patching of systems, and they can now build on that knowledge to see how it affects other equipment apart from just your endpoint devices. You take it to your access layer, your distribution layer, your core, and depending on how large your infrastructure is.
Well, to our viewers out there, if you find this very insightful and interesting, please do not forget to follow, like, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.